Kraft Foods is a company that most Americans immediately associate with all sorts of cheese products. But in fact, it has a very long and diverse range of products under many different brands that you most probably didn't even know were Kraft brands. This food company controls a big part of the packaged food market in the United States and also globally. It has a rich history of over 100 years. It has also been a part of many high-level mergers and acquisitions. And in this video, we will discuss all of that. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The story of Kraft Foods began in 1903 when a Canadian man named J.L. Kraft moved to Chicago and began selling cheese there from a horse-drawn wagon. This small business turned out to be so successful that J.L. Kraft decided to get together with his brothers and start a cheese company. So he did that, and the company quickly gained recognition for its high-quality cheese products and experienced rapid growth. Early on its journey, Kraft came up with something that would revolutionize the way Americans consume cheese forever. Any guesses about what it might be? Yes, we're talking about the processed cheese, or the cheese that many refer to as American cheese. Kraft wanted to come up with a type of cheese that would have a longer shelf life than natural cheese. They tried a lot of formulas and finally, after a lot of trial and error, found one that worked. The blend of natural cheese with emulsifiers. This blend led to the product that we now call processed cheese. There were several benefits to processed cheese, like the smooth texture, longer shelf life, ease of melting, and consistent flavor profile. Needless to say, this new product gained a lot of popularity, and even the timing of its launch couldn't have been better for Kraft. Let us tell you why. During World War I, the US government deployed over 4 million soldiers, and they needed food for these soldiers that would provide instant energy and also have long shelf lives. Kraft's processed cheese perfectly met these criteria, and this led to the army buying 6 million pounds of cheese from Kraft. This definitely gave the company a huge push, but it was just the beginning of Kraft's success story. Kraft kept building on its success by coming up with new and innovative products, as well as strategically acquiring brands that would complement its product portfolio. The company was ready to dominate the cheese market in America. Kraft acquired one of its major competitors, Velveeta Cheese Company, in 1927, and the popular Philadelphia cream cheese the following year. Yes, Philadelphia cream cheese is actually a Kraft brand. Did you know that? A few years later, in the 1930s, Kraft came up with another revolutionary product, the boxed macaroni and cheese. One box could feed a family of 4, and at that time, it cost only 19 cents. This product was an instant hit, and within the first year of its launch, Kraft had sold 8 million boxes of it. Another of Kraft's iconic products is the individually wrapped slices of processed cheese, or the Kraft Singles. While cheese slices wrapped in plastic are the most common thing now, even when it was launched by Kraft, it was the first of its kind. As you can tell by now, Kraft is a company behind a lot of products that are staples, not just in the US, but around the world. And honestly, the ones we have discussed are just a fraction of Kraft's extensive product lineup, which includes many other brands that have become household names in the United States, like Oscar Mayer, Jell-O, and Planters, to name a few. Throughout the years, Kraft has strategically expanded its business through a number of mergers and acquisitions in order to diversify its product line and strengthen its presence even more in the packaged food industry. Let's talk about some of the biggest acquisitions and mergers that the company has been through to date. In the year 2000, Kraft Foods acquired Nabisco Holdings Corporation, a leading snack food company, in a deal valued at approximately $19 billion. This acquisition brought some very well-known brands such as Oreo, Ritz, and Chips Ahoy under the Kraft Foods umbrella. Kraft Foods made headlines again in 2010 with its acquisition of British confectionery giant Cadbury for $19.5 billion. This move allowed Kraft Foods to enter the global confectionery market and expand its product range to include popular brands like Dairy Milk, Creme Egg, and Trident. Its last big merger was in 2015, when Kraft Foods and Heinz Company joined forces to create the Kraft Heinz Company. This merger created one of the largest food and beverage companies in the world, combining iconic brands like Heinz Ketchup, Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, and Oscar Mayer. For a good chunk of Kraft's history, it was America's unlimited appetite for processed foods that fueled the company's growth. But with changing times, there came a shift in people's perspective, and more people started caring about the ingredients in the food they're consuming and the health effects of it. This turned out to be bad news for Kraft. Around the end of 2002, the Food and Drug Administration questioned Kraft Foods about violating its labeling standards. At the time, the famous Kraft Singles cheese was being made with something called milk protein concentrate, which is an ingredient that the FDA doesn't allow in products labeled as pressurized processed cheese food. But rather than changing its recipe to become FDA approved, Kraft decided to just relabel its singles as pasteurized prepared cheese product. This move didn't go unnoticed by the American people. They were realizing the negative effects of consuming heavily processed foods, that it's a cause of worry for Kraft. Kraft responded to this change in the market by removing trans fat from some of its products and launching low-fat cheese options. After a petition signed by over 360,000 people to remove artificial dyes from Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, the company removed artificial coloring from its mac and cheese and also removed artificial preservatives from its singles. In general, Kraft expanded its product line to include healthier options, responding to the growing demand for them. The company is focused on reducing sodium, adding whole grains, and removing artificial ingredients from its products. But even with all the changing consumer trends, Kraft still remains one of the most powerful companies in the food industry. And as you can tell from this video, it is way more than just a basic cheese company. You can probably find a Kraft product in every single section of a supermarket. The company is actually much bigger than most people think it is. This brings us to the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed learning about some of the renowned brands that are surprisingly owned by Kraft Foods. Did you know about the scale of Kraft Foods, or did you also think of it as just a cheese company? Tell us in the comments below. We'd also love to hear any other thoughts you have on the company that we may have missed here. Also, do you want to learn more about any of Kraft's brands? Some of them are so big we could make a separate video on them. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content on some of our favorite companies. We'll see you in the next video.